Hey, this is Dave from the Centurion's Review. What I have here is Centipede, based on the Atari card game. It's been released by IDW Games as a board game. Little history behind this. There was a family board game version of this a long time ago, and there's also been a card game version. Let's talk a little bit about the arcade game, because there's a few things you might not know. This was made in 1980, and the designers were Ed Logg and Donna Bailey. And as you can tell by Donna Bailey's name, she was a woman. She's not the first woman to design a video game, but she is the first woman to be involved in the design of an arcade video game, so that's a significant achievement. When she first started with Atari, they had a notebook of about 30 ideas, and a lot of them were stuff like blasting things with lasers and stuff, but she saw one of the ideas involved a bug winding down the screen, and she thought it didn't sound bad at all. She didn't see anything wrong with shooting a bug, so that's the project she started with, and a successful project it was. This is one of the most successful video games of the 1980s. As you can see, the box here has some nice artwork on it. It says it's for 2 to 4 players. It takes 30 to 45 minutes and aged 12 and up. Bottom of the box has a picture of the game. The game looks like the board looks like the actual arcade game, so that's kind of cool. As far as the 2 to 4 players, the 2 player game is pretty obvious. You're just the gnome versus the centipede. The 4 player game, each player is both a gnome and a centipede, and your centipede is trying to destroy the other gnome, so that's kind of interesting. The box here fits really tight, but that's okay. Rulebook has a nice little rip on the side, which didn't please me too much when I got it, but whatever. It's got a color rulebook, and I'm a wargamer by trade, and most of the rulebooks I deal with are black and white, other than the ones from GMT Games and a few others, so anytime I see a color rulebook, I'm really happy. The rulebook is 15 pages. It took me not that long to read. I don't even think a half hour to read. It made sense. The only thing in there that didn't make sense was the spiders and the fleas. I had a question about what happened when those reached the bottom of the screen of the board. I had to go online and look up the rule to find out what it is. Now I know, so when I try this game, I'll be able to play it effectively. Let's take a look at the board. The board's small, but that's okay. You don't need a big board. Down here, this is where the gnome would set up, and then the centipede would wind down from here. These 2 spaces are the spaces where it can generate or enter the board from. The pieces, you have a lot of cards. This top card here is you roll the dice and you place them on there, and the gnome chooses those dice to determine how far the gnome moves, whether it shoots, and whether it refreshes any of the other cards. As far as the cards, there's some cards that help out the gnome, and a bunch that are used by the centipede player too. If any of you have ever had a desire to have a pink patch with a green centipede on it, fear not, this game includes one. Here's the dice I was telling you about. See the little symbols on there? That little 3 there tells you that you move the gnome 3, and that little star-looking thing tells you that the gnome shoots his wand. And I believe the square here tells you to refresh your cards. Here's the centipede pieces here. Let me open them up. Yeah, they look like they're made of, I can't tell if they're either wood or plastic and painted. They look alright. I mean, this is typical of what you'd expect from a board game. Got red, these are red mushrooms, it looks like. Need lots of mushrooms. And here's the gnomes and the spiders and the fleas. That's kind of cool. And what do we have down here? Oh, some little stickers. That's cool. So I will try this game when I get a chance. I was actually supposed to try it today, but I was playing Remember the Alamo, and it took longer than I thought. So I will try it next week, and when I get a chance, I will do a review of it. I look forward to playing this game. Looks like a nice change of pace. Thanks for watching.